I am the ghost of the last white man. Let me tell you a story. There once was a race of men who did great things. They invented things. They explored the world. They had numerous contributions to mankind. But for all the great things that this race did, they also had many flaws. And in fact, they are no longer with us. You see, this race, for all the great things they did, they also did horrible things. They were convinced by leaders that they elected, charlatans who labeled themselves as politicians. These politicians encouraged them to fight in wars against their own brethren. Over the times, this great race became divorced from the roots, their strong roots. They became separated. And you know, a tree without its roots cannot stand. This race, a majority of them mixed themselves out of existence. They bought into propaganda that media and other influencers put out. They voted for politicians who would import foreigners into their homelands, hoping that someday in the future that they would be mixed out of existence. Our vanity is what cost us. The majority of our race, as I said, they mixed themselves out of existence. It was like a frog being in a pot, and that pot being on a stove. And every year, every passing year, more and more heat was added to the water until it was boiling. We all know this story. You see, we also bought into brainwashing to hate ourselves. We were afraid to be called racist or homophobic or whatever term that many of our own use. You see, our vanity destroyed us. Of course, there were many who resisted. There were some that tried to remain pure, and they tried to raise their children well, unlike many of the other members of their race who virtue signaled and took their children to things like drag queen story hour, other degenerate filth. It's insanity. This race was the first race of man to ever will themselves out of existence. As I mentioned earlier, there were some who resisted, but eventually they too fell. My family was one of them. We were hunted down like wild dogs. So, it didn't have to be this way. You don't have to consume all this degenerate filth they put out. You don't have to chase a career. We let feminism and MGTOW divide the sexes, and we let the state raise our children and indoctrinate them. So what do you expect? What do you expect is going to happen? It didn't have to be this way.